22nd century, global climate change was irreversible. In the United States, efforts to deform the terrain to protect its shores were successful. But the Midwest became a wasteland. We were still one country, but increasingly divided.
Initial descriptions of games can be a little bit deceiving. All I knew about this game when I first got it was that you were able to raise and lower terrain to help you out, and I thought maybe it would be kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon or something. Well, no, it's nothing like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but it is one of the coolest shooters to come out in the last few years. Sure, it isn't a drastic move for the genre, but some innovative features definitely make this a game you should give a try. It's Fracture for the Xbox 360.
You're not taking me alive.
Colonel, you need to clear out. I won't let Sheridan get away.
Fracture's story is set in a future America where the West and East have split into two separate countries. More specifically, the West is now known as Pacifica, as it split from the United States. The general for Pacifica is considered extremely dangerous, and it's your job to capture him at all costs. Of course, things are never easy, as you meet massive resistance in the form of genetically modified soldiers, but you have a little trick up your sleeve called the Entrencher, an item that can raise and lower dirt to help you clear obstacles and block out enemies. It's an interesting idea, and it works well most of the time. I say most of the time because there is a limit to the amount you could raise something, and it can pull you out of the experience when you can't keep going up for no specific reason. However, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, as if this is happening, it usually means that you aren't supposed to go wherever you're trying to go. Fracture's core gameplay is third-person shooting, and while it isn't really anything special, there's nothing really wrong with it either. Hit detection is fine, weapons work well, and enemy AI is actually really good. In fact, the game's difficulty actually feels genuine because of this. You won't die from bugs and glitches, but the enemy is actually providing a fair challenge. Using the Entrencher to help provide cover and sink enemies is also a lot of fun, especially when a large group of them all go down at the same time. The only real issue I have with Fracture's gameplay is the grenade mechanics. You have access to a few different grenades to not only defeat enemies, but change the terrain. While these work okay, actually getting them to go where you want is a pain. You also don't get very many, so having to waste a few grenades before you hit your target is pretty annoying. Regardless, you don't have to use them all that often, and you will start to get the hang of it over time, but they do seem to act like bricks of lead at first. Visually, Fracture does look like a budget title. Environments don't actually look that bad, but they do seem to be pretty similar to each other with bland walls and terrain. The main character also has a long scratch across his face like that dude from The Wire. It doesn't really seem necessary.
We're cleared to recon a downed freighter at Alcatraz that may hold some answers to his plans.
Understood. What are we expecting?
Anything and everything. We're going in guns hot, but our primary objective is investigation. That freighter had
No identification, but tracked to a Pacifican supply house in Kyoto. You can bet that if we know about it, Sheridan has already
sent a cleanup team.
Fracture doesn't execute all of its concepts as well as it could, but it is one of the more interesting shooters released this generation. I wouldn't say that it's absolutely necessary to give it a try, but fans of the genre looking for something a little bit different will definitely have some fun. Just remember, it isn't Roller Coaster Tycoon at all.
Is this what they call light resistance?
Looks like somebody at HQ got their intel wrong.
Stowed, you two.
Colonel, is this a bad time to request a transfer?
Not at all. Meet me over on Fort Point and we'll fill out the paperwork.
Copy that.